What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and Nintendo is doing it again. There is going to be another classic miniature console. Welcome to the midweek update, and today we are going to be covering the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic Edition, otherwise known by fans as the SNES Mini Edition, or if you are in Europe, it is the Nintendo Classic Mini: Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Whoever thought that name was a good idea should probably be fired. For those that do not know, the NES Classic Edition was a huge hit with fans last year whenever it hit store shelves because it was pretty much a miniature version of the NES, as the name hints at, that had built-in games, and it pretty much just brought back a ton of nostalgia for a ton of people. However, Nintendo did not produce that many, so it became incredibly difficult to find one, and at the time of making this video, the only way that I would be able to get one, just me, a standard old guy out here on the street, would be to go through eBay and pay about $300, which is an incredibly high markup. So this time around, Nintendo has a chance to do it again and do it right this time, but I'm still not entirely sold on the fact that they will in fact do it right. But how much is this going to cost? It's going to be $79 here in the United States, or if you go ahead and account for the eBay markup, right around $400. I'm joking, but $80 does seem to be a little bit steep considering you do only get 21 games. However, the console itself is pretty cool, so you have to kind of take that into consideration, and these 21 games are some of the best hits from the SNES overall. I mean, a couple of the ones that stand out from the list here are Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, you've got Kirby's Dream Course, a really good game, Star Fox 2, Super Mario RPG, a really interesting one to include on the list, Super Mario World 2, Super Metroid, then you've got Super Punch-Out. There are a lot of good games here, and then of course you do have Star Fox 2, which never officially came out, even though the ROM was leaked and it's been playable for a good long time now, but it is cool to see it finally getting an official release with the SNES Mini Edition Classic, whatever the hell you want to call it, little miniature console. Another issue that some people had with the NES Classic Edition is the fact that the controller cables were about 3 feet long, which meant that you literally had to sit next to the Classic Edition while you were playing, which I kind of understand what Nintendo was trying to do here. They were trying to emulate that feeling of sitting in front of your TV as a kid playing a game, looking up at the big screen and that kind of thing, but it ended up just being kind of a nuisance, especially when you consider how people play in the modern day with wireless controllers and keyboards and mice, and it just makes it where it felt like more of an inconvenience than such a novelty like they were trying to make it out to be. So there has been a little bit more cable added. The controller cables are now 5 feet long with the SNES Classic Edition, so that is a little bit comforting. 5 feet, still a bit too short for me, but I am sure there are going to be third-party wireless controllers available for purchase if you are so interested in that, but I was kind of hoping for something more around the 6 foot, 7 foot range, but 5 feet is definitely a whole lot more welcome than 3 feet, because in the world of controller cables, size definitely matters. No. So what it comes down to is that the SNES Classic Edition improves a lot on the design of the NES Classic Edition and fixes a lot of the issues that fans did have, while still packing a huge punch with 21 pretty awesome games that give fans a pretty good taste of what the SNES had to offer back in the day. And for those worried about the production and availability of the SNES Classic Edition, I must say that Nintendo has said they are going to do better with this one. They have said they are going to produce more consoles and make it more widely available, but they are only going to be offering it until the end of the calendar year. And if you go ahead and say that September is over by the time this console comes out on September the 29th, that leaves October, November, and December. And if I know Nintendo, they aren't exactly going to put a lot of production value and production effort into having a console that's only going to be on store shelves for about 3 months. If anything, I would say that as compared to the NES Classic Edition, which had between 5 and 6 consoles per store, I would go ahead and up that to about 10 to 12 per store, just my estimation. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, I'm just saying I'm not getting my hopes up for Nintendo packing the store shelves full of this thing for the holiday season, although if they did, they would be geniuses because it would sell so many just like the NES Classic Edition could have back in 2016. But I digress. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this edition of Midweek Update, and I will talk to you on Friday.